on the language policy in Singapore. Now, let me first start by elaborating on the language environment in Singapore. Now, we have 4 official languages in Singapore. Malay is our national language, English, which is the lingua franca and predominant home language. English is also the medium of instruction in our schools, as well as a subject of study for all primary and secondary school students. We also have Mandarin, which is widely used among Chinese Singaporeans, and the 4th official language is Tamil, one of the many Indian languages spoken by Indian Singaporeans. It's against this multilingual backdrop that our bilingual policy is a cornerstone of our education system. It requires our students to offer 2 languages, English language and an official mother tongue language. This enables them to connect with people from different backgrounds in a multicultural environment, and it allows them to thrive in a diverse, globalized world. It also equips our students with language and cultural competencies to appreciate their culture and heritage. This bilingual policy has served us well. Our literacy rates among residents 15 years and older have grown to 97.5% in 2019, up from 92.3% 20 years ago. Residents who are literate in more than 2 languages was 73% in 2015. Now, internationally, our students have performed well in literacy studies. Our primary 4 pupils in Singapore have emerged second in the international test, Pearls International Test, that measured how well they can read. The results of Pearls also found that our students here outperformed their peers in other countries in navigating online texts. Yes, Singapore pupils came out tops. We surpassed 13 other territories and countries, including the United States, in the online task, which required them to answer questions related to information on the web. Now, in PISA, which is the Program for International Student Assessment, Singapore came in second in all 3 subjects covered in the study: mathematics, science, and reading. Singapore's 15-year-olds also came out tops in PISA's 2018 Global Competence Study. PISA defines global competence as the ability to examine significant issues, appreciate other perspectives, engage in effective interactions across cultures, and take action for collective well-being and sustainable development. Now, I will talk about specifically the language education, English language education in Singapore, the teaching and learning of English language, because it is our lingua franca, as well as the medium of instruction, as well as the subject of study in our primary and secondary school. Right, let me start by saying, at level, English allows Singaporeans to tap into a knowledge-based economy where English is the main lingua franca of the internet, of science, and of technology, and of world trade. And a high level of English proficiency is needed in an increasingly competitive world. Learning English in a multilingual context like Singapore is different from learning it in a monolingual or first language context. Within the context of a linguistically diverse and increasingly multiliterate learning environment in Singapore classroom, teachers are encouraged to adopt a principled blend of first language, or L1, and second language, L2 methods to achieve a balance between systematic and explicit instruction and a contextualized and holistic approach to teaching English. Such a blended approach to teaching and learning English provides a rich environment for developing language skills, learner strategies, and acquiring the knowledge of grammar and vocabulary. To ensure that our syllabuses keep pace with the needs of our learners in a changing world, our syllabuses are regularly revised and updated. The revised English language syllabus was launched in 2020 as part of this review of syllabuses. And this syllabus builds on the English language syllabus 2010. And ELS, what we call the English Language Syllabus 2020, ELS for short, takes into consideration the trends and challenges, as well as the changing contexts for language use. Just give me a minute, please. Apologies for that. All right, let me go into the changing context of language use that we took into consideration when we drew up the English Language Syllabus 2020. Today, many changing socioeconomic factors make proficiency in English even more necessary for our students. The increasingly competitive international environment calls for an even greater need for linguistic and communicative competence, adaptability and flexibility to make sense of the massive rate of disruptions in every sphere of life as a consequence of globalization and the spread of English as an international language. Economic and employment trends are also changing the way English is used. So in recent years, the rapid development in information technology has shaped our understanding of literacy and linguistic skills in English to include multiliteracies. The inclusion of multiliteracies is particularly important given the context of future workplace readiness, with the rising emphasis on interpersonal skills, high order cognitive skills, and information system skills. Secondly, with the generational shift in home language among an increasing number who have adopted English as their mother tongue, learning English in classroom occurs now in a linguistically diverse context. And this change in profile of learners is something that we needed to consider. So too, the need to create opportunities for all while making space for excellence, and as well as balancing rigor with the joy of learning. And so our vision for the new syllabus would be at these three levels. At the foundational stage, we want our students to be able to use language for everyday purposes across different spheres of life. At the aspirational level, we want to anchor our 21st century EL learners in strong values. And at the ethical level, we want them to be able to use language to do good and to uplift the human spirit. So in the development of our ELS 2020 was guided by the following principles. And the three principles are learner centricity, where we hope to be able to better meet the students' learning needs and development. Secondly, relevance, where we make learning pertinent for our 21st century context. And alignment, to ensure alignment within and across key educational stages to achieve wider educational outcomes. Hence, the three key shifts here you see in mainly learner outcomes, wanting stronger fundamentals for future learning, as well as curricular alignment. So let me just quickly take you through the three shifts. In terms of learner outcomes, we want our learners to able to be empathetic communicators, discerning readers, as well as creative inquirers. This is based on the framework for our 21st century competency and student outcomes, which identifies three categories of competencies to enable our learners to take advantage of the opportunities in the digital age while staying connected to the Singapore heartbeat. And these three categories of competencies are, firstly, core values as the moral compass, with character as the foundation of learning and behavior. Secondly, social and emotional competencies. And thirdly, 21st century competencies for the globalized world. So in order to help our students work towards these desired learner outcomes, our syllabus has been updated and sharpened to reflect the values and 21st century competencies expected of our communicative, effective communicators. And these build on the strengths of our previous syllabus 2010. In terms of strong fundamentals and future learning, we want to move forward to prepare our learners for the increasing demands of the 21st century. So what the changes are would be these. Moving forward, our EL syllabus will deepen oral communication and social skills to promote effective engagement and interaction and the use of talk as tool for learning and thinking. There will be wide and extensive reading and listening, which we will emphasize, and a range of authentic text, print, non-print, and digital, which will be introduced across all levels. Writing different types of text will be introduced at developmentally appropriate points so that students will progressively learn the craft of composing with cumulative complexity. Grammar and vocabulary will be taught explicitly and in context of language using rich texts. We also are going to increase the emphasis on the development of critical skills of metacognition, multiliteracies, and inquiry through dialogue. In our third shift, we ask ourselves, how can we implement the syllabus to ensure curricular alignment? And to ensure progression of learning from primary to secondary schools, these are the things that we did. We will have clear curriculum objectives that are articulated for each syllabus to guide the planning and focus of EL teaching and learning at key stages. So from kindergarten to primary 1, from primary 6 to secondary 1, from secondary 4 and 5 to the pre-university. We have also developed clear pedagogical frameworks for both the primary as well as the secondary schools. And thirdly, EL instructional materials are provided to schools in digital format for adaptation to suit the needs of learners in different schools. In addition, curriculum aligned student learning space resources for all areas of language learning are available and will be added to ongoing basis to support EL teaching and learning. So these are the 3 key shifts of our syllabus.
Ms. Yeo, you have 5 minutes.
Sure, I will be finishing soon. Thank you. All right. Right. In terms of leveling up in literacy programs, we have, in addition to the main curriculum, there are also leveling up literacy programs to further support primary school students who face various challenges in the learning of English language. So if you take a look, in addition to the national curriculum, we have what we call the Tier 2 programs that provide additional support to our students who lack developmentally appropriate early literacy skills or who have who are diagnosed, for example, as having dyslexia. So we have our Tier 2 and Tier 3 small group intervention programs to help our students access the main curriculum. So to help our EL teachers navigate these changes, the ministry has put in place various forms of support to ensure that they are able to help students learn effectively. So the support that we provide to our teachers include methodology, for example, in syllabus implementation workshops that we roll out nationwide, in terms of materials that we provide, in terms of mentoring by stellar teacher mentors, by curriculum partners, and by master teachers. And this support is provided through systematic partnerships among English Language Institute of Singapore, the English Language and Literature branch of our Curriculum Planning and Development Division, as well as our National Institute of Education. Now, continuing COVID-19 situation, learning continues for both teachers and students, and teachers are supported through online professional learning so that they are equipped to facilitate learning through both home-based and in-person learning modes. The redesign of our English teachers' learning sessions to online learning is also guided by the following considerations. And firstly, teachers' diverse needs. Secondly, the desire to strengthen the theory-practice nexus for teachers, especially for teaching in a blended learning approach, because they also now have to equip themselves in order to teach our students in an increasingly blended approach. And thirdly, the need to promote teacher self-directed learning and metacognition so that they can model these for their students. So if you take a look, teachers are also offered instructional and student learning resources for their use on Student Learning Space, which is Singapore's national online learning platform for students. And our support for teachers is also differentiated as shown. So we have programs for our key personnel and teacher leaders, for our teachers, as well as schools. We also have end-to-end support that includes pre-service training at NIE. So all the new changes, the new developments, we work with the National Institute of Education, which is our teacher training institution, to ensure that teachers who go through the training are ready to implement the new syllabus as they come out. Okay, my final segment would be on stakeholder involvement, and in supporting our language, our teachers and learners, the ministry also engages various stakeholders. So, for example, at the national level, we partner with the National Library Board. They are our key partner in raising literacy levels, like the Kids Read program, which aims at cultivating the love of reading among children 4 to 8 years old who are from less privileged families. We also work at the community level with ethnic community groups, which provide educational and funding assistance to students from less affluent families. So in review, these are the segments that we have looked at, these aspects that we have looked at of Singapore's language policy and language education. So thank you very much for your kind attention. Yes.